I am Alicia Berry. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions here at Proctor Academy. I use she, her pronouns, and will be taking you through this evening, really just introducing you to a couple members of our learning skills faculty, and then also to some students today, because at the end of the day, I know you're all here to hear these student voices. So let me start off by introducing Jen Fletcher and Annie McKenzie, who are both faculty in our Learning Skills Department and are going to share a little bit more from their perspective of what our Learning Skills program really is here at Proctor Academy.
Thanks, Alicia. My name is Jen Fletcher. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And I am the director of the Learning Skills Department at Proctor. This is my 24th year working in the Learning Skills Department, and it's my 12th year as the director of the program. I am also the mom of 3 Proctor graduates, and my husband is also a Proctor alum. Also joining us tonight in the conversation is Annie McKenzie, and I will let her say a few words before we get into our conversation.
Hi, I'm Annie McKenzie. I am a learning skills teacher, and I have been here for 23 years. And I'm also a dorm parent and advisor and a mom to 2 Proctor students. And we're really excited you guys are here tonight.
Thanks, Annie. So our job tonight is to kind of provide an overview for you about our program. And we also want to make sure that we have plenty of time for all of you to hear from our student panelists who will introduce themselves in a little bit. But I will add, if you have any questions at all that you feel were not answered tonight, please don't hesitate to reach out, send me an email. I'm happy to set up another call or a Zoom call. And all my contact information is listed right on the Proctor website. So let's take a look at the culture of learning skills. Alicia, if you don't mind bringing that slide up. We are so fortunate at Proctor. We've had such a long history of providing academic support. We've actually been offering academic support since the 1950s. So for decades now, we've been working individually with our students, and we've continued to get better and better at what we do and hone our skills. We're very fortunate. We have a beautiful space on the top of the Learning Center that's fully dedicated to the department. And we have a large number of students that participate in learning skills. We have about 1/3 of our students at any given time that participate in academic support. And when they first come in, we create a learning skills profile for them, and that is available to all of their classroom teachers. And the idea is to provide a sense of their strengths, their challenges, how they learn best, and a sense of what the accommodations are that they need on that profile. And we work with our students to continue to revise that over time. We really want to make sure we get that student voice in there, shaping that learning skills profile. What's also really interesting to know is that in learning skills, all of the different classes that we have at Proctor are fully open to you. We have students taking a range of classes from honors and AP to regular paced sections to all kinds of art and music and tech classes. So we work really hard to make sure that we provide a schedule and course offerings that allow learning skills to be kind of implemented kind of seamlessly into their day. We also have a lot of learning skills students that participate in off-campus programs. So it's perfectly fine if you want to go on Ocean Classroom your junior fall and then pop back into support. We can work on all those schedule changes with you. And at any given time, at about 50% of our Proctor graduates have been touched by the learning skills program. Let's take a look at that next slide, Alicia. And we have a very robust team of learning specialists. We have 16 full-time professional learning specialists here in the department, and they are all hired specifically for the role of teaching learning skills to our students. It's actually the largest academic department that we have on campus. And we have a wide variety of backgrounds because we have a wide variety of learners. So we have specialists with reading and writing and dyslexia studies backgrounds. We have specialists that have studied special ed formally, psychology, classroom teaching, ADHD coaches, kind of a wide variety of skills. And I think it's also important to know that over 50% of our learning specialists have served at Proctor as a learning specialist for 10 years or more. So we have a very experienced team, and they're super dedicated and really love connecting with our students and also their families to get to know all of you better. In terms of our program delivery, let's take a look at that. So at Proctor, we have different levels of support, and the most intensive program we have is called Learning Skills. And this model features 2 students to 1 learning specialist, and it meets 3 times per week under our current schedule. And each block is 70 minutes in length. And when you first come into program, we do ask that if you've signed up for Learning Skills, you'll be in that for the whole first year. And then at the end of that year, we can think about whether you're ready to be independent, whether you're ready to have less support. And so that's where Learning Skills Independence might come in. This is the exit program to Learning Skills. It still features 2 students to 1 learning specialist, but it meets half-time. Another program we have is called Learning Lab, and that's just less intensive support. So it's 8 students to 2 learning skills teachers, and it also meets 3 times per week. The other difference with Learning Lab is that you don't have to commit to it for the full year. You can just do it for a term and then, help you acclimate to Proctor, and then maybe you're ready to exit that. But we certainly have plenty of students for whom Learning Lab is a great fit, and they like to stay in it all 3 terms each year. The other service that we offer is called a watch profile. So we have some students that come to Proctor that have a learning disability. Perhaps they have dyslexia, for example, or they have some ADHD needs, and they don't need the direct services of Learning Skills. They feel that they can get the help they need by working directly with their classroom teachers, but they do need accommodations. So I work with them to come up with a accommodation plan called a watch profile, and that also goes out to all of the classroom teachers. Something to know about all of these different services in between Learning Skills Independence, and Learning Lab is that we do work on a wide variety of skills, from executive functioning, so like planning, time management, organizing, to writing and reading strategies, to math skills and practicing how you study for different tests according to how you learn best. We also work a lot on just general self-advocacy and understanding how to use the resources you have, with the goal of being independent and self-confident in your skills. So those are the sort of the different levels of support. And then next up, we have Annie is going to talk a little bit more about some of the systems we use and how we have a very much a team-oriented, a collaborative approach to working with our students. Thank you, Annie.
Hi. One of the things that I think makes our learning skills program different from other schools is because it's been such a part of the school. It's truly it's within the culture of the school. We work closely as a team with students. We work with students and their teams, and the team includes the dorm parent, advisor, coaches, parents, and then the student themselves, and the wellness team if they need to be included. The students get these little things up here you can see on the screen called official notes from all of their teachers throughout each term. And the notice it's written directly to the student because our focus is to help the student grow, and we want to give direct feedback to the student. The student's team also gets that note so that we can all wrap around the student and help remind them or encourage them along the way. But it truly is this culture of support that it's just embedded here. I think we can go to the next one, Alicia. So while Jen was saying that we work on all different skills and learning skills, whether it's math or executive functioning or specific writing skills, our goal is that our students walk away knowing themselves as learners, because that helps them develop resiliency and the ability to be self-advocate, self-aware. Our students, well, I guess I'll get into that next slide, sorry. So our students, because they know themselves so well, not all of them, in fact, I think a very small percentage, access formal support in college, but they go into college prepared. They've practiced advocating for themselves. They've practiced attending office hours. They know what they need to do to learn. They're very willing to go to writing labs. They're very willing to access help that's available because they've had this huge growth experience at Proctor, and it's pretty fun to see. And now we can introduce our lovely panel. Johnny, you want to take it from here?
Hi, everyone. I'm Johnny McCoskey. I live in Duxbury, Massachusetts. The former school that I went to is the Carroll School. I'm currently a dorm leader in Pewdy House. I run Proctor Academy Screening Session, which is a club where we show movies, and I'm captain of the crew team. Oh, and I'm a four-year senior.
Hi guys, I'm Nora Flanagan. I'm from Lexington, Massachusetts, and my middle school was William Downey Middle School in Lexington. I've been a Proctor for all 4 years. I'm a senior now. And I'm a dorm leader as well. I'm on varsity field hockey. I'm wilderness orientation leader. And I've been involved in a few clubs as well, PEA, Andover Elementary Readings, like Andover Elementary School Reading Club, reading to the kids. Yeah, excited to talk to you guys about learning skills.
Hi, everyone. I'm Zach Macy. I'm a 3-year junior. My previous school was Hopkins. I'm from New Haven, Connecticut, also Martha's Vineyard. I play JV soccer, varsity lacrosse, and JV hockey. I started the Proctor broadcast. I'm the started and co-head of the Proctor Broadcasting Network. And also a little shout out, Annie is my learning skills specialist. So yeah, I also apologize for this picture. Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm Sydney. I am a 3-year junior here at Proctor. My hometown is Jamaica Plain, Massachusetts. I am also a Carroll School student. I am a dorm leader in Carriage House. I am one of the diversity committee leaders. I'm one of the JV field hockey captains. When I am not having a good time or laughing with my friends, you can always find me either reading something or doing more research about diversity and how we can improve that at Proctor.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for introducing yourselves. What we're going to do now is really jump into the portion that I know many of you are here for, this question and answer period. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that way you can really see the student faces here as we're speaking. And feel free to submit any questions via the chat. We already have one that was submitted directly to the admissions group. And so kind of a two-pronged question here. So I'm gonna read them out. I'll be kind of moderating these questions out to you guys. It might start first kind of pointed at you and Jen and Annie of talking about how do you decide before starting which program is best for a child? Is there assessments before a child arrives? Is it based on recommendations from the school you're coming from? And then I think it's also great maybe to hear from you guys as students of once you're in the program, how you guys have kind of choose where you're at and what you're doing for a program as well as you continue forth, as we know you don't always stay in the same program. So maybe if Annie or Jen, you want to talk about students coming in first.
Great. That's a great question. So we have a very thorough, holistic admissions process at Proctor, the admissions committee, which Annie and I are also members of. We spend many hours really getting to know each student because we want to make sure that you are going to thrive at Proctor and that you're the right match for our school, and that you have an opportunity to really share what your interests are and how you can benefit from academic support. So we really do like to see all those really honest, heartfelt answers on the student essays and supplements. That's super helpful. And of course, we look really carefully at the sending school recommendations and the educational testing that's provided. It's really helpful for us to see what the cognitive strengths are, what the cognitive challenges are, and achievement testing to see where the students' reading, writing, math skills. We take a look at sort of executive functioning factors to kind of get a sense of what those are, because I want to make sure as the director that I have a program, that we can develop a program that's really going to fit your needs. So we look really carefully at those tools. So most kids coming in are coming in with that full array of testing. Sometimes kids find their way into learning skills halfway through the year, or maybe they haven't been tested before, but because Proctor is such a learner-friendly environment, we're always looking to make sure that the kids are well supported. And so we can arrange for an independent learning evaluation to happen on campus. So I hope that addresses that question. And I'll let the students chime in about different levels of support when they feel they're ready for learning skills independence. I know, Johnny, you've been in learning skills independence this year, and I will be quiet now.
Awesome. Johnny, do you want to start us off, talk a little bit about what, choosing a level of learning skills, the level of support looks like for you as a student?
Yeah, so I've been in learning skills for all 4 years. My first 3 years, I was in regular learning skills, and now I'm in learning skills independent. And a lot of deciding where I should really be at had a lot to do with how I felt that year was going to go. So my freshman year, I perceived it to be going to be a lot harder than I thought it was, which was good. And then my sophomore year, I also perceived it to be a lot harder than I thought it was. And then my junior year was a lot harder than I thought it was. So I'm really happy I stuck through with learning skills for those parts. And then entering into learning skills independent, I really knew that, in college, I'm not going to have the same experience. So it was my time to really dive into creating better habits and being able to take on a less structured form in a sense.
Awesome. Does anyone else want to chime in of how their learning skills journey is going? I saw Nora, your hand, then we'll go Zach, then we'll go Sydney.
Okay, so my story is a little different. Entering Proctor, I was not a part of the learning skills program for freshman and sophomore year. My sister Catherine, I'm a twin, and my sister Catherine entered Proctor, part of the learning skills program. And I started getting kind of jealous because she was getting all this extra support, and I was like, all right, am I missing out on something? I was like, I thought I was doing fine. My grades were good, but definitely I felt like I could have done even better with a little bit of extra support, especially during my sophomore year. And so my mom and I came to the conclusion that learning skills would be a good fit for me going to junior year, especially with the more rigorous courses I'd be taking. And so I didn't really know what to expect because I was a junior in learning skills. I've heard a bit about it from my friends in sophomore and freshman year. But so I entered learning skills, like the full learning skills program junior year. It was definitely really helpful. And my learning skills teacher, Linda Sargent, helped me a lot with like structuring my essays, making them more concise because that's a problem I have. And it was a good time to have that structure because otherwise it would have just been a study block for me, which I usually utilize anyways, but it was good to have like a person there if I needed that extra help or if I had a question, because before that I didn't really have that option besides going to my teacher. So it was good to have that source outside of the classroom as well. And then this year, so learning skills went really well last year. And I figured this year, going to senior year, same as Johnny, I figured going into college next year, I wasn't going to have the same structure. And I figured that learning skills independent would be the best option for me. So I'm in learning skills independent right now. It's only been the first term, but so far I think it's going really well. And it's nice to have the flexibility and be able to like fluctuate with my schedule and talk and communicate with my learning skills teacher, figure out, oh, you know what, today I think I'm actually pretty set. I think I've done a lot of my work. I think I'm good, no questions. And then I can always hop in if I need to, because she's always up there. I'll be down in the library and I'll be like, you know what, maybe I do need some questions answered. So I'll hop on up there, even if I wasn't scheduled to go, and she's always there. And yeah, it's been going really well so far. So happy to be in the program.
Awesome. And Zach?
Yeah, so I've been in learning skills for this is my third year with Annie. And I came from a school, Hopkins, which is a pretty rigorous private day school. And they kind of were a little bit lacking in the learning kind of support department. I have dyslexia and ADD, so that was kind of a big thing for me. And so when I was looking at high schools, it was kind of a big like draw for me. Like how much support was I going to be offered? But again, when I got here, kind of like what Nora was saying, I was kind of not sure what to expect. And so when I got here, I was super like, I don't think I would have done like as well as I did. And I struggled in my freshman year, but I think it would have been way, way, way worse if I had not had Annie there to help me kind of stay on top of things, because I'm someone who really struggles like organizing how I'm going to use my study hall. Or how I'm gonna use my free period, stuff like that. Is the kind of stuff I really struggle with. And now kind of almost done with my first term of junior year. It's been like, I've kind of really noticed how much Annie's helped me kind of learn to do those things on my own, like learn how to like bracket my time for study hall, that kind of thing. And we actually were just talking about moving into LSI, learning for the spring term. And I think that's kind of like what Nora and Johnny were saying, kind of like moving slowly, like moving out of it. Yeah.
Awesome. And Sydney, do you have anything you wanted to add to round us out?
Yeah, I can. For me, I'm a bit similar to Zach. I'm not the best when it comes to planning and organizing. So coming in as a freshman, I was thinking this is going to be really hard. Like I was thinking learning skills is going to be more of like a homework period. But my learning specialist, Kaden, really understands me and my learning style. And she's been really helping me with organization and being able to sit down and say, okay, what assignment can I get done now? What's something I know I can save for tonight that I'll feel really confident in? And what's something that I should save for the next block? So having that kind of support and that sometimes tough love there when you need it has been really, really helpful for me.
Awesome. And that kind of leads me, Sydney, into my next question that was submitted to me. That's asking what a normal week looks like in learning skills. Obviously, you guys are all very different students with different goals in mind and taking a wide array of classes. But if you could speak to maybe what that learning skills, like a single block looks like or week to week. I know it varies so much, but if you could speak a little bit to that, that would be really great. Sydney, I'll have you start us off.
So for me, a big thing I struggle with in school is math specifically. So me and Kaden, she's my learning specialist. She has been really helpful with being able to sit down and say, okay, what math assignments do you have coming up? How much time do we have to get them done? That way I can leave learning skills knowing, okay, I just got the hardest thing of my night off of my shoulders, and now I can focus on my easier assignments, as well as being able to take those assessments and those tests and learning skills. Because for me, I get very flustered when there's a lot of people around me and I'm like one of the last ones to finish. So when it's really just you and your learning specialist, that's kind of taken off your shoulders because it's just you, your test, and someone there when you need it, as well as them having those other resources that you might need as you're taking a test or finishing a homework assignment.
Awesome. Zach?
Yeah, so again, like Sydney, I have trouble organizing. I am also, math is my most difficult subject, but I think Annie and I kind of approach it a little bit differently. We like to get kind of the stuff that I am strongest with out of the way first. Like I know Annie and I have spent a lot of time on writing and that kind of and English and history, just so that I know that that's out of the way, and I can kind of devote all of my time in study hall to math or science and that kind of stuff. And it also allows me, Alicia's my JV soccer coach. It also allows me to, when I'm at practice or something like that, it really allows me to kind of put all of my focus into what I'm doing at the time, not really thinking, oh my God, do I have to worry do I have to worry about getting my homework done? Am I really going to have to do that kind of stuff? But I think that the biggest thing for me has been using my learning skills time to get things done so that I can plan the rest of my day better, is what I would say.
Awesome. Nora?
All right, so last year in learning skills especially, I used a lot of my learning skills time to, I kind of reflected on my classes, and like I've always been pretty good at organizational skills, and that's why at first I didn't think I need learning skills, because I've always been able to get my homework done, and like I was like, I don't really need this, but I figured out like my writing skills were there, but my grammar and like I would go on rampages with my writing, and I kind of started getting a few official notes on that. And I was like, maybe I need to work on this. So I brought that to Linda, brought that to the table for Linda. And we started working on my writing and going through like each paragraph saying like, do I really need the sentence here? And it's really being like detailed. Like we would spend the whole like learning skills, like being detail oriented on the specific essay I was working on, or just it's like homework assignment that had a lot of writing in it. And just making sure that like everything was clear and concise. And honestly, I think I really carried that into this year as well. And although it's still something I continually am working on, I've been able to really progress through like really honing on it and focusing on it with Linda in that specific time tailored to that. So that's been really good, and I'm getting better, and it's been good to have the resource to work on that as well. But yes.
Awesome. And Johnny, you want to finish us out on that one?
Sure, I'll speak more to like the weekly structure. So with learning skills independent, we usually have 3 blocks for each class throughout the week. So with learning skills independent, I show up to 2 of them. And if you had regular learning skills, you would just show up to all 3. And it's not really like this is your like these are your 2 blocks, only show up then, don't show up here or there or whatever. It's really like a just make sure you're here for 2 blocks throughout that week. So I remember last week I was like super tired towards the end of the day, and I was like, I'd rather just take this block off and go back to my dorm and sleep, and then I'll see you tomorrow. And that's exactly what I did, which was pretty great. So it's much more of like a flow to it. It's not super like controlling, which is nice.
Awesome. And Johnny, that also kind of leads in when you speak to meeting twice a week and how it's 3 blocks per week in total. Can you guys speak a little bit to what the overall block schedule is at Proctor? Are you getting pulled out of classes for learning skills? Are you missing things? Maybe if you want to speak a little bit to what our block schedule looks like, which classes you're taking in a term. Sydney, I saw your hand shoot up really fast.
Yeah, so the classes I'm currently taking, I'm in Culture and Conflict, which is both an English seminar and a social science credit, chemistry for my science credit, algebra 2 for math, learning skills, intro to programming for a tech credit, and I feel like I'm forgetting something. Okay, maybe I'm not. But basically, learning skills is integrated into your schedule, so you're never missing social or like sports events. It's never something where it takes time out of your day to be with your friends or go get some extra work done. It's part of your schedule. And essentially, we have 4 blocks each day. So it's worked into your schedule, which is super nice, because I know sometimes for kids, it can feel like if you get pulled out of a class to go get extra help, it feels like you're missing out. So what's really nice about Proctor's that they make that a part of your schedule. So you can still get your academic work done, but you can also still be a high school student at the same time.
Zach, did you, or Nora, I saw your hand first, and then Zach, if you guys had something to add.
Okay, so yes, I'm taking AP Lit, Literature, AP Government, AP Environmental Science, which is actually been a really cool class, Spanish, Novice Mid, and Calculus, which has been a challenge. But this, as Sydney said, although I'm in rigorous courses, I've been able to manage it really well with the like time allotted within the Learning Skills program. And I've never had to miss class because of it. It's just, it's like within your schedule, it's a class, it's like a course you take. So it's just as any other class, you attend it, you go for that a lot amount of time. Classes right now are 70 minutes. So you go for 70 minutes. And then you can also go after, if your learning skill teacher is available, if you want to go in during lunch or something, you can always have that resource and try to connect with your learning skills teacher if need be. But you'll never have to miss class, but you also always have that resource if needed. So, yes.
Awesome. Did you have something to add, Zach? And then Johnny?
Yeah. So one thing I think, so I, like Nora, I kind of, so I'm also in Nora's AP Gov class, but no, it's what I really like about the schedule of Proctor. So when the 70-minute classes, we get done around 2:45 each day. Wednesdays and Saturdays are shorter days because those are game days. But what I love is that after sports and dinner, almost every teacher at some point in the week holds extra help, which is just kind of office hours. You can go ask questions. Especially for math, science occasionally, if I have a paper to write, I'll go sit in there. But just to do homework, I go sometimes I know math, that's a big one for me, just because if I have any questions, I can just look up, raise my hand, ask, she'll be right over, which is a huge thing for me because it, that's my weakest subject. So it allows me to kind of work out anything I'm struggling with. And I think that's a big part of Proctor's schedule, that is just kind of, at nighttime, you're not really missing out on anything. I mean, it's during your free time. So it's really up to you if you want to go or not. And I think that that's something that really makes Proctor special, is that every teacher, every class has that.
I just wanted to add in that we, in the Learning Skills Department, we keep a list. There's a spreadsheet actually that faculty fill out every term that has the complete list of when all extra helps are offered. And so sometimes for new students, they might need help figuring out when these extra helps are offered, even though it's listed on the class page and in the syllabus. But a learning specialist can really help those new students figure out how to get extra help into your schedule, right? It's one of the things that we plan for. And we might also talk about specifically how to get ready for that, right? Like, what are the questions you need to ask? What's your goal at extra help? Make sure that you have your plan, and we can help facilitate that follow-up communication too, until the student really becomes comfortable self-advocating for themselves. But yes, we definitely support extra help and office hours. And we find that having you guys get all that practice is so great when you go to college. I hear over and over again how students feel much more comfortable talking to their professors because they've had that opportunity here at our small boarding school. So I just wanted to clarify that point.
Definitely. And I think just to clarify too, you're hearing of this wide range of classes our students are taking. We're on a 7-block rotating schedule for everyone. So kind of looking back to freshman year, what that typically looks like for a student is an English, usually it's an intro to literature class, a social science, it's a world history course, a regular, a science, which is biology, a math, which that's going to vary depending on what math you're currently in. But we are moving over to a phenomenal integrated math curriculum here at Proctor that is so approachable for students, no matter their background in math. And then we kind of have these 3 blocks to play with. Sometimes that's going to be for freshman year, foreign language. We don't accept foreign language waivers here, but it's really important to remember that our faculty know that we're working with this wide variety of learning styles. So our foreign language department is very non-traditional in that teaching style and very approachable for students of diverse learning backgrounds. And then it's typically, again, so if we're in learning skills right now, I'm going to say learning skills is one of those blocks, and then usually an art, a tech, or a free study block. And then that's going to vary over the years. Our foreign language department only requires 2 years of high school foreign language. So sometimes students after 2 years are like, you know what, I'm done. I'm going to have a little bit that third block of flexibility in here. Sometimes students really want to go with it and take a full 4 years of a foreign language too. But anyhow, that's kind of what our 7 blocks that rotate through look like, and they meet 3 times per week for families. I saw a couple questions just looking specifically at schedule, so I figured I would answer that there. And there are a variety of honors or regular level courses that students, it's a conversation with your teacher and some recommendations when you're coming in as to which one you'll fall into. But as you can see, our students are taking a wide variety of levels here, which is really fantastic. And it's also, I mean, the students can probably share with you if any of you guys have had this experience, but sometimes you'll start in a higher level one and realize that's not for you, and that's okay. Or vice versa as well. Sometimes you start in the lower level and then you're like, wow, I can take honors. So pretty fun to have that flexibility within our schedule. Looking again towards some of these learning skills specific questions again, I have a question here, kind of a multifaceted question, I guess. The first one is talking about, for you guys, again, looping back to what you're doing in your individual learning skills block. Do you feel like it's more tailored towards you working on individual subject questions, or is it more larger strategies, or a mixture of both, if you guys want to speak to that? And then the second one, that maybe we can weave in here is asking about if your learning skills teacher helps set up meetings with your teachers. So again, looking at those larger picture takeaways of advocacy skills and planning and whatnot. If you guys kind of want to speak to some of the different specific subjects you'll start in. So Johnny, you've been in learning skills here for quite a while, if you want to speak to it first.
Yeah, so I would find that learning skills offers really a mixture of both. So if I go in and I'm like, oh, I'm really struggling with this unit in math, we'll take a look at that unit, we'll break it down, we'll figure out what's going on with it, and really work on trying to get me to figure out that unit. But then when I don't have a situation like that, it is about like, let's create a strategy here. Let's learn how to look ahead. Let's learn how to plan out. How far out should we be looking at this paper? So it really is a multitude of the situations depending on what the person needs at that time. So I came from the Carroll School, and they had a tutoring system, but the tutoring system was much more structured. I could come in with like a paper due like the next week, and it really wasn't a system where we would look at the paper. We were really just set on our set path, and it was like a whole different class. This isn't really like that. This is how do we get you to success, which is great. And what was the second question?
It starts off, or some of those bigger takeaway skills, like, again, so the specific question was if teachers help you set up meetings with your, or if your learning specialist helps you set up meetings with your teachers.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, they certainly will. They won't make them for you, but they'll certainly tell you when you need to meet with a teacher for sure. And it's one of those things where they're really working on self-advocating, really working on being able to go to the teacher yourself. All of our teachers are super approachable. I'm sure a lot of you guys can be telling that we're calling Alicia by her first name, or we call people by their first name here, and it creates a much stronger structure. I know like my sister found it weird when I came here. A lot of my friends find it weird, but it really is a great system because it creates a connection. Really, it feels like a community. It's not like I don't feel like any of the teachers are above me or anything like that. It's really an equal playing field, which is awesome. And that creates the ability for me to go up to any teacher. I know like Bill O'Brien is one of my previous math teachers. And let's say if Matt McKenzie, who is my current math teacher, is a little busy that night, I'll go to Bill. I'll send him a quick email, be like, hey, Bill, do you mind helping me? We'll hop onto Zoom and we'll get it done, which is great. So yeah, super approachable. But learning skills teachers will definitely help you out with that if needed.
Awesome. Thanks, Johnny. Nora, I saw your hand, and then Sydney.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with Johnny in the last part. I've had some teachers that aren't even like my learning skills teachers. Like for example, Annie McKenzie is my dorm parent, and I was really struggling with one of my college applications last week actually. And Annie saw that I was in distress, and she was helping two of her own learning skills people for like 2 hours in the dorm. And then she saw that I was struggling, and she helped me for like another hour, just going through my essays and helping me with those. And I'm so grateful for her. And I didn't even know Annie really until this year, but it was just such a beautiful thing because Annie's Catherine's learning skills teacher, my twin sister, and Annie's not my learning skills teacher. She's never been my teacher, but she was still there to help me, even though she wasn't like my structured teacher. She was still as much as a support when I needed it. And that was just really awesome. And it shows that proctor teachers will be there for you at any corner, whether you've been there, like whether like you just met them a week ago, or like they want to create that connection with you and they want to be there to help, like they truly care. And also back to like the subject part about like, is it geared toward more strategies? As Johnny said, it really does depend. But one thing that I found is helpful. Today, actually, my learning skills teacher was like, all right, let's start prepping for final exams. And I'm like, what do you mean? It's only November 1st. And I'm like, oh, right, it's only November 1st. Like there's only 2 weeks left until finals. And that's kind of crazy to me, but keeps in the back of my mind. That just shows that your learning skills teachers are looking ahead for you. They're gonna like help like create kind of a plan. Last year, I like created a plan for my finals each term and how many hours I wanted to spend on each, studying for each. And I kind of adjusted those hours as the week went on, but it was good to keep it in the back of my mind throughout the weeks leading up to the final exam. And it just shows that your teachers are there to help prep you for the final exams and all tests as well.
And Sydney, did you have something you wanted to add in?
Yeah, similarly to Johnny, I also came from Carroll and I was a part of their tutoring program, and he's right, it was very structured and it was more set towards helping us improve our grammar and our Orton Gillingham like stuff, if you know what, if you're familiar with what that is. So coming to Proctor, I was definitely a little hesitant about being in learning skills because I had this perception that it was going to be similar to that, where I wasn't really going to be able to go to my learning skills teacher and say, hey, I'm really struggling with this assignment. Is it possible for me to work on it? Because I kind of just assumed it was going to be, nope, we have this strict schedule that we're going to follow to a T. So it's been really nice that you're able to walk in and be like, I really need help with this. As well as what Nora was saying about how you've always got them for support. And in terms of if it's geared towards you or not, I think it really depends on you as a student. Like, I think that that's part of your decision as well as your learning skills teacher's decision about whether you focus on some like 1 or 2 subjects specifically, or if you kind of just go day by day and see maybe this is an assignment I want to cross off now. So I think part of that is really geared more towards the learning skills student experience, depending on who you have and how you guys communicate.
Awesome. Thanks, Sydney. And I think this next question also ties into a little bit of what you guys are speaking on. As you talk about being able to do individual assignments for, again, such a wide variety of classes you're all taking. And so kind of speaking to that, your learning specialists, obviously they have a background of helping with various support systems. Do you feel like they're able to kind of support you with that individualized instruction? Sometimes when we get really specific down certain lanes of your classes, how do you find that extra support on instruction? Is speaking more, I guess, to extra helps, if you've used any tutoring services on campus. Otherwise, if you guys want to speak a little bit to the other support structures on top of that too. I saw Zach's hands up first, and then we'll go Sydney.
Yeah, so I think that I know Annie, for me, has been really helpful in for every class that I've taken so far at Proctor. And I feel like I've taken a pretty, for the most part, pretty rigorous course load so far. And I think that, let's say I have a problem. I'm taking personal finance. Say I have a problem that is kind of stumped both Annie and I. It's really the one thing that was really helpful is like, oh, remember that Patty's extra help is on Thursday, or so like if we can't figure this out, or we can reach out to Patty to get that question answered. And I think that that's just kind of like, if you don't have the answer to something, if you're in the very rare occasion that your learning skills specialist can't help you with that question, they can very easily point you in the right direction to find the right answer. Because Proctor has offers so many opportunities to get help and to succeed with extra help, math first aid, writing first aid. Yeah.
Awesome. And Sydney, do you want to add on to that?
Another thing that can be helpful is sometimes it can be a little intimidating when it's you and your learning skills teacher. So Zach kind of mentioned this, but we have what is known as writing first aid and math first aid, and that's essentially student to peer tutoring. So if you feel like you need more of a student perspective, you can go to your math first aid tutors or your writing first aid tutors. I'm actually a writing first aid tutor, but we're essentially there to help students. Like if they're having trouble writing an essay, we're there for formatting. We're also there for extra support as they write that paper, but that's also another opportunity we have, as well as Zach also mentioned this, we have extra help sessions. And sometimes that's usually included in our syllabus, which is essentially like your class guide, like to how that class will run, how things are graded, all of that. And in there, usually your teachers will include where their extra help is, what time it is, as well as you can always reach out to them if you have any questions, because again, they're always there for you, as well as your learning skills teachers. They're always there for you and that extra support if you need it.
Awesome. And maybe just a show of hands or a nod of heads. Are teachers also available in times that aren't during their extra help sessions? Yeah, so a big thing as well, if attending extra help seems a little intimidating at first for new students, you can meet one-on-one with your teachers. And there is every once in a while, if a student really deems additional tutoring services, our learning specialists have been able to set students up for that. I do math tutoring on campus for a handful of students, and that was coordinated with a conversation with the student, parents, learning specialists, and whatnot. So every once in a while, if a student really needs that additional instructional support in a specific subject, that is available as well, just to let everyone know on that end. I did want to answer just one question as well that I saw. As Zach mentioned, I am the boys JV soccer coach. I did see a question just asking if sport coaches tailor their approach to student athletes with different learning profiles. So like I said, I'm the JV boys soccer coach. That's about as many learning profiles as you can get in one team. It's a bunch of teenage boys, and it is fantastic. And it is a lot of trial and error. Sometimes we'll explain a drill and then we'll go out to do it. And then we're like, oh, okay. We have half of our team are not auditory processors. So we're now going to show you how to do the drill, and it's always adjusting. And so it's a lot of that for JV boys soccer and for all of the sports. Most of our coaches on campus are also full-time faculty members, so dorm parents, advisors, teachers. And so there's so much crossover. We're not this traditional school. We're the learning skills program. We're this amazing school that has a learning skills program, and then everything kind of built around it, and it overflows into everything we do. So it's applied in the classroom, coaching, even in, I would say, dorm parenting as well. We see a different approach. So I just wanted to get rid of that question real quick to answer that before we jump back into student voices, which leads me into, especially, I know Zach and Sydney, you're juniors, so you're starting to work on this as well. But for Nora and Johnny, you guys are both seniors. If you want to speak to, did your learning skills instructor help with college essays? Maybe if you want to speak to the whole college essay writing process at Proctor and how you were prepped for that. Nora, you can go first, and then Johnny.
Okay, so starting off my junior fall term, I took AP Ling, and one of the things I found really helpful was that an assignment was to actually write a college essay, like the college essay we were planning to submit. So I was like, all right, let's go, like I'm getting this done early. But I didn't end up submitting that one just because I just need more time to think through it. But many of the people I was in the class with did end up submitting the one that they got graded from a teacher that really edited from my AP Lang teacher. And I think that's a really helpful tool because it integrates the college essay prep and into your own class. So you don't have to take time outside of the classroom, and it's a graded assignment. And I know a lot of the classes of English do that. So a lot of the AP English classes do that. And I thought that was really helpful. So if I had used that college essay, that would have been great. But I know a lot of my friends did. And also within the specific learning skills program, I definitely brainstormed a lot with my learning skills teacher last spring. And that was helpful to get me on the right path for when I wanted to complete my college essay in the summer. That was definitely a long process, but there was a lot of support from Proctor, and just there's a lot of support around me throughout it. And I was able to submit this Saturday, so it was a pretty big deal. But I definitely had a lot of support, and there was a lot of support to do your college stuff on the Proctor campus. So.
Yeah. So you kind of really start the college process. I guess you could even say sophomore year, because sophomore year and junior year in your literature classes, you'll write a college essay. I remember my sophomore year, I wrote one that was pretty rough. And then my junior year, I kind of went back and kind of analyzed it and created a much better one. However, it was about double the length it was supposed to be. So then when it finally came to like writing the essay, I had the essay. I just didn't have it through the right length. So I worked with my learning skills specialist and my college counselor, and we were able to cut back on that essay, tighten it up. I think it's one of the best written things I've ever, or one of the best writing supplements I've ever done. And then when it comes to actual writing supplements for the school, those are a huge help in learning skills. Just the other week, so I have one more school to apply to, which is BU, and I've been working on their supplement. And my learning skills specialist was like, okay, when are we planning on having this? When is it due? And when are we planning on having this done? And I was like, well, I'd like to have it done over Thanksgiving break. And he was like, I know your schedule. I think we can get this done before you go on Thanksgiving break, which, it's a good push. It's definitely, I definitely can get it done before I go on Thanksgiving break. So it's a nice, good kick in the pants in order to get me ready and going. But yeah, I think Proctor and Learning Skills handles the college application process really well. And it kind of feels like everything's connected. A lot of the times when I would have questions for my college counselor, it's right below the Learning Skills Center. So I would just run on down during Learning Skills and ask my questions and run on back up, which was great.
Awesome. And Sydney, am I seeing your hand up?
Yeah, so I'm not a senior yet, but I will be soon. So like Johnny was saying, sophomore year, you kind of start that process of having the conversation with our college counselors on campus, and then junior year is really when you kind of start to get the ball rolling. So in my English class this term, we wrote college essays. It was like practice essays because it's a class of all upperclassmen, juniors, and seniors. And I wrote mine on being a teenager living with epilepsy, and getting that feedback and that just seeing, like, being able to share with my college, like the college counseling office, and getting that feedback has been really helpful, as well as it's nice to have that support of your learning skills teachers who've got your back as you're thinking about colleges and you start applying, as well as the college counselors, they've got your back, and it's less stressful than it seems. It probably seems like, oh my God, that's like so far away, it's gonna be crazy. But the college counselors and your learning skills specialists do a great job of helping you through that, whether you're staying on campus all terms of junior, senior year, whether you're going off campus, they've always got you. They know how to support you before you leave and when you get back. So they've got your back always.
Awesome. Thanks, Sydney. Well, with respect to time, all of these students are technically in study hall right now. And as they mentioned, finals are just a couple weeks away. So we might close out with just a final question here for each of you guys to answer. It was asked actually fairly early on in the questions of really looking back to, because as you guys know, as you students know, everyone that's on this panel right now is going through this process and trying to figure out, what's the best fit school for them. And I know, again, it was quite a while back, but if you could speak to what drew you to Proctor, what made you choose Proctor, and then also maybe what's a piece of advice that you have for these students that are going through this process now? So Zach, I saw your hand go up really fast, and then we'll do Sydney, Nora, Johnny. How about that?
Yeah. So again, I came from a really rigorous middle school, and there's a high school attached too, but it was really rigorous. Didn't support academic support well. Hockey and lacrosse are also a very big part of my life, and so again, it was also important for me to find a place where I could thrive not only academically but athletically. And so I think that Proctor, for me, I looked at 6 schools, and Proctor to me was just the best balance of academic rigor while still having support, and athletic, kind of like the best fit for me athletically. Again, really, Proctor's got great JV programs. Alicia, big game tomorrow. Great JV programs, and then varsity too. Also, all really competitive. Almost all the JV teams play full schedules. Some sports have JV2 team, like thirds teams that play full schedules. And again, I think for me, it was just the best fit overall with the 3 things that were important to me, kind of that balance between academic rigor and support and the athletics.
Awesome. And Zach, do you have any advice to any of these students going through the process now?
Yeah. So I think my biggest thing was keep an open mind. Don't go into any like school thinking like, oh, I know a ton about this place, or oh, maybe you have a friend that goes there. Like you know, the most you're going to learn is from doing stuff like this, where you're hearing like me, Johnny, Nora, Sydney talking about the school we go here, like that's how you're really going to learn, like really immerse yourself in the process, because that's how you're realistically going to find the best fit for you.
Thanks, Zach. And Sydney, I'm pulling you up on the spot next.
For me, when I went into this whole process of picking a high school, as much as I wanted to stay at Carroll, my middle school, and I loved it, that was like my little bubble. I knew I needed to expand my wings and spread my wings. And so the biggest thing for me was finding a place similar to Carroll that would support my learning needs. It would support me socially, athletically, and academically, and Proctor checked all my boxes. And there's some pretty awesome off-campus programs that we have as well. I just think it's really incredible to be able to say as a high school student, oh, I got to spend an entire term in Spain or an entire term on a boat, getting to learn all these really cool skills that you may not have the chance to do again in your lifetime. So I think that's a pretty cool check to be able to say you did. Piece of advice I would give to students who are going through this process, I agree with Zach, definitely keep an open mind. And this is something that I wish someone had told me when I was applying to schools, but don't feel like you have to choose a school because you have someone you know who's going there, or you feel like you have to follow the footsteps of someone else. Choose the school that's going to be right for you, because at the end of the day, it's your education and it's your life. So you need to pick the place that's going to be right for you.
Sydney, that was such a mic drop moment. Nora and Johnny, you want to follow up with that?
Yeah, I'll follow up with that. Okay. So similar to Zach, my middle school was pretty rigorous. And although it really set me up well for like work ethic and like study techniques and just getting that done, I knew that I wanted a place that was also had the same rigor, but with support, and also offers such a breadth of opportunities. Like in all aspects, academically, like athletically, and also like experientially off campus. And I'm so glad that I did choose Proctor, because I feel like I've grown so much as a person these 4 years here. And I've also really developed like good self-advocacy skills and just going to teachers. And I've also just like become such an open person to like all ideas. I feel like I've tried, I've like really grown into myself, I feel like. And I've also tried a lot of new things, and I've like learned like the value of persistency, and like, cause like, for example, I wasn't on the field hockey team for 2 years. I kept on getting rejected. I went to sports camp every summer, but I was still in JV. And then last year, I thankfully got on the team, and it's just a great community. Like being a part of a sports team that like really cares about you, and just like coaches as well, and just like being able to like go through your days with them and like games and practices is really impactful. And I also am going on Ocean this winter, which I'm really, really excited about. Ever since I've been a proctor, I've always really wanted to go on Ocean. That was another thing that really drew me to the school, because when else can you say that you've lived on a boat for 2-3 months with like kids you go to school with, and you're on watches, you're waking up at 4 a.m. to like go handle the boat, or else you guys are, something bad's gonna happen if you're not gonna wake up, you know? So I think that's a really special opportunity I'm really excited for. And also my sister Kathleen got to go to Costa Rica this sophomore year. I was supposed to go my spring term, but COVID prevented that. But still, I got to kind of live through it through Catherine, and I got to hear about that. And that's a really awesome experience afforded to students. And overall, just I think come to Proctor with like come to look at schools with an open mind, as everybody else is saying, come to Proctor, but also just try just go about everything with an open mind. And just when you go on campus, just make sure you feel like included and welcome. This is a place that you really will thrive. Make sure this isn't make sure when you're looking at school, that's not a place where you feel like it's going to be constant competition, just like more collaboration over competition in the classroom, and just like making sure that it's an environment that you're going to academically thrive in yourself, and not what you think that other people are going to expect or want from you. What do you think is best for yourself? That's my advice for you guys. And I wish you all good luck with the process, because I remember it was hard in 8th grade, but yeah.
Thanks, Nora. And Johnny, do you want to close us out here?
Sure. So I remember when I first visited Proctor, I didn't really know anything about it. And I was instantly astonished with the campus. You know, the campus is beautiful. We have our own ski hill, which is pretty amazing. But I really chose Proctor not when I was visiting Proctor. I remember I was visiting another boarding school that I at first thought I would have liked more than Proctor. But when they were giving me a full tour, they took me to their tutoring lab kind of area. And it was in like this dingy basement with cement walls. And I spent about 30 minutes in there and hated every second of it. Whereas at Proctor, you're at the top floor of this beautiful building, windows in every room. And it really made me see the difference between the way the two schools were really taking on the programs. And so I think Proctor from there on out was really a good choice.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Johnny. And thank you, Jen and Annie. If there's any questions that you still have, feel free to reach out to the admissions office so we can get you connected with students, with learning specialists to field those questions. If you missed any of this panel tonight, as I mentioned in the beginning, it is recorded and will be posted on our website under the admissions page for later viewing. All of our panels have been thus far. And also for anyone, as Nora led into, for off-campus programs, if you have any questions about our off-campus programs, next Tuesday night, same time, same place, we'll be speaking to our off-campus programs here at Proctor. But thank you all so much for joining us this evening. And as the kids said, good luck with this search, and we hope to see you all come through our office.